StudyHouse.com.
Okay students, now we are going to start with a very new chapter and a very scoring chapter. Scoring in the sense, in a P block the number of marks scoring is very high, but the length of the chapters, number of topics you have to study more, but it is not like that. And even coordination compounds is better than this. With less study, selective study, you can score better in coordination compound. After the coordination compound, this topic comes into the account. Okay, so second scoring topic of the inorganic is D block elements, D and F block element. First we are going to start with the D block elements, transition elements. Okay, so in the transition elements, first let us know about the definition. In the definition part, what are the transition elements? Okay, so the elements in which differentiating electron, differentiating electron, or otherwise simply what I will tell you, which possessed, that will be the better, easiest word, which possessed partially filled, okay, partially filled penultimate D subshell, which subshell? D subshell, partially filled D subshell in their ground state, in their which state? Ground state. Otherwise there is a chance also, or in most stable, in the ground state or in the most stable ionic state also. Okay, so what is that I am going to explain? In their most stable ionic state. So let us take chromium atomic number is 24, so it will be 4s2 3d4 it is supposed to be, but what we write in the ground state only 4s1 and 3d5. It is partially filled or not? Now let us take the manganese 25, 4s2 3d5, partially filled D subshell, but it is not valency shell, penultimate shell. Valency shell is this one. A shell before the valency shell is called as a penultimate shell. Okay, so this is the penultimate shell. The penultimate D subshell should be partially filled. Now this is the, I told you the example for the ground state atom, and let us take in the case of the copper. So in case of the copper it will be 4s1 and 3d10. Is it following the requirement? It said that in the ground state partially filled, but it is fully filled. But there is an additional adjustment is given. What is that? In their ionic state also it is okay. Copper ionic state is what? +2. So in that condition 4s0 and 3d will be 9. Now it will become partially filled. So in their stable ionic state also okay, in the ground state also okay, but penultimate D subshell should be, how much? It should be partially filled. Then they are called as a transition elements. Okay, so like this criteria in the ionic state criteria is followed by 3 elements. One is copper, another is silver, another is gold. These are the 3 elements which follows the second criteria. What is the second criteria? They have partially filled D subshell in their ionic state, not in the ground state, and rest all will have the partially filled even in the ground state. And there are 3 more elements which does not follow the criteria at all. What are those 3 elements? Anybody know? Okay, very good. Zinc, cadmium and mercury. This is having 4s2 3d10. So maximum oxidation state is how much? +2. So if 2 electrons are also removed, partially filled D subshell is not yet available. Same way here 5s2 3d10, sorry 5s2 4d10, 6s2 5d10. So in the plus 2 state also, plus 2 oxidation state also, they don't have partially filled D subshell. Hence they actually should not be considered as a transition elements, but still they are only the end elements of the transition elements. Is it understood? So they do not follow the any criteria. These three follow the criteria of ionic state, other will follow the all criteria. Is it understood, students? Now coming to the transition elements. Transition elements are further classified into three series. How many series they are converted into? They are classified into three types of series. Okay. Transition elements. Which element? Transition elements are classified into, four series. I am very sorry. They are classified into how many series? Four series. First series is called as a first transition series. First transition series. Next is called as second transition series. Next is called as third transition series. Next is called as fourth transition series. Okay. TS means transition series. Next, each transition series is also known as, this is called as a 3D series, and this is called as a 4D series, and this is called as a 5D series, this is called as a 6D series. Is it understood, students? Fourth transition series, 6D series, third transition series, 5D series, and the second transition series, 4D series, first transition series is 3D series. Actually 3D series belongs to which period? Fourth period. It belongs to which period? Fourth period. This belongs to fifth period, and it belongs to sixth period. It belongs to seventh period. Okay. So right from the fourth period to seventh period, they are all 10 elements in each. Total transition elements are how many? 40 elements are there. How many elements are there? 40 elements. Each row 10 and 4 rows, 4 transition series, 40 elements are called as a transition elements. Is it understood? Now first transition series. First transition series, there are a chance from where to where. Okay. 21 scandium. 21 scandium to the already known fact zinc 30. First transition starts from the 21 scandium to 30th zinc. Second 39 yttrium. 39 yttrium to 48 cadmium. Second transition series. Okay. Zinc, cadmium, what I told you, mercury. Okay. The next element which will be and mercury. Okay. And here it is the lanthanum. Actually after the lanthanum there will be a gap. Okay. After lanthanum 14 elements are inside the third transition series. That's why they are called as a inner transition elements. They are called as what? Inner transition series. Okay. So that's you can identify here. It is 57 and it is 80. Okay. What it is? 80. Is it understood? Now after this, see 57, it should be 67 or not? But it is not 67 because 14 elements are adjusted after this. What those 14 elements are called as? Lanthanides. Lanthanide is not an element. Lanthanide is the group of the 14 element which comes after the lanthanum. Same way actinium. Okay. And here it is unbinyllium. Okay, what is UUB? Unbinyllium, 112 atomic number, and its atomic number is 89. Same problem here also, it is 112. After the 89, 90 will not be here. 90 will be in the inner transition series. 90 will be where? In the inner transition series. Okay, and up to 112. After 14 elements again it will come back. 90 to 14 elements again 15th element will be here. So 9 element and this 89th will be the 10th element. Is it understood? So these are the elements belonging to transition series. Is it understood? Now I am going to give you some direct objectives, some very important direct objectives. So keep ready, be ready with your notebooks and make a note of it. Grab it as fast as possible. The very first, iridium. What is the very first exception? Very first important element is iridium. Okay. What is the speciality of iridium? It is the highest denser metal. Highest density metal. The metal with highest density. Okay. Highest density metal, it is 22.61 gram per centimeter cube. Even just a small 1 centimeter cube mass is how much? 22.61. Just osmium, the most, just osmium precedes the iridium. Okay, osmium is the second highest. Osmium is the second highest denser metal or density metal. Okay, I am talking about the metal's density. Don't take it in the other way. 22.59, just lagging by 0.02. See, sometimes very small gap will separate you from the first rank. So, and nowadays it is 2 decimal place accuracy. Okay, so you have to be very prompt with the decimal place accuracy also. See how much unlucky element osmium. Just by the 0.02 grams in 1 centimeter cube, it could not secure the first place. So don't make mistake in your life also. Okay. So this is gram per centimeter cube. Is it understood? So iridium is the metal with highest density. Osmium is the second highest density. Both are lagging by 0.02 only. Okay. So this is about the density. Next I am going to tell you about the tungsten. There is a speciality to the tungsten. I think all of you noted or not. So I will immediately rub. If I suppose if I am erasing without you noting, just pause it and go backside. Slide it backside and make a note of it. Every point is important. I am not going to take hours of lecture. I will be taking around 40 to 35, 40 minutes only. I keep my lecture because I wanted to give you self-study time also. Okay. So tungsten. Tungsten is the highest melting point. Tungsten is the element with the highest. Tungsten is the element with the highest melting point. Okay. So you would like to know its melting point. It is none other than 3410 degrees Celsius. Everybody wants to be highest in any other, in their interested places. So if tungsten trying for density, it may not be successful. So likewise also in your life also try to know your strength, where you will be the highest. But criteria is you should be highest in some other field. Some or other field. If you are normal, then nobody is going to ask about you. Okay. So tungsten is the metal with the highest melting point, and mercury. Do you know what is the speciality of mercury? It is the lowest melting point metal. Metal with the lowest melting point. Understood? Anyhow it is in news. Because of some other reason also it is in news, and it is minus 38.9 degrees Celsius. The metal with lowest melting point is mercury. The metal with the highest melting point is tungsten. The metal with the highest density is iridium. Second highest is osmium. Okay. Now after this direct objectives, I am going to give you tips to write electronic configuration. Okay. Tricks to write electronic configuration. Tricks to write electronic configuration. Normally what happens, it should be ns2 n-1 d1 to 10 or not. But in some cases what happens, to impart the stability, one electron will come from here to here. So if you note down, if you make a note of it, what are the elements where the melting point, electron is in which elements this electron comes out from here to here, then it is easy. That itself is a trick. Okay. In chromium, it is a well-known fact. In the 11th class, as an exception, you have studied, and it is copper. Okay. Nibodium, molybdenum. Okay. Technetium, ruthenium, ruthenium and rhodium. Okay. Silver, platinum, gold will be Au, gold. Okay. And anilium. Okay, 111. Is it understood? All of them have only one electron in Ns. So what you will do, other than this you will write Ns2. Okay. In this, like it is example, I will give you the easiest example, chromium. Okay. It is supposed to be 4s2 3d4. What you will write, you will erase 1 and you will add here. Similarly, you will do it for the everybody, and rest all electronic configuration you can do. There is one more exception, palladium, well-known metal. Where it is used? Bechara, palladium. Okay. Palladium is the element even does not have a single electron in the Ns. Okay. Palladium is Pd. Okay. No electron in Ns. All the 2 electrons will be joined back to the Ns electron all the Ns electron will be given back to the N-1 D. Is it understood? So palladium exception. What is the exception? Both Ns electrons are migrated to the penultimate D subshell, whereas elements like chromium, copper, nibodium, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, silver, platinum, gold, octium. Okay. Anilium. Sorry. Anilium. 111. Okay. So these are the elements with N-1 electron in their valency shell. Okay. So are you ready for the next one? Let's see. Next we will start with the topic metallic nature. Okay. Metallic nature. Okay. Points wise we will study so that you can get the direct answers. First one is all transition elements. All transition elements are metals. There is no transition element which is a non-metal. All of them are transition elements, are metals only. But the metallic nature, sometimes they may ask metallic nature. Metallic nature is due to, okay, metallic nature is due to Ns2 or Ns1. Okay, the metallic nature of the transition elements is due to presence of unpaired or fully filled S subshell electron in the Ns shell. The metallic nature depends on the metallic nature due to the Ns electron, that is Ns1 it may be, Ns2 also it may be. Is it understood? And I think all of you must be knowing the metallic nature means it should be hard, okay, it should be malleable, ductile, all metallic properties you must be knowing, and there are less chances. But I will, on this occasion, I wanted to mention the copper, silver and gold. What is the speciality of these three metals? They have excellent thermal and electrical conductivity property. Okay, what they have? They have excellent thermal and electrical conductivity property, 3 elements. Is it understood? And metallic nature also includes the hardness. Okay, So hardness depends on the n minus 1 d subshell. Okay, number of unpaired in hardness is directly proportional to number of unpaired in n minus 1 d subshell. Okay, so in this one, more number of unpaired, then what happens? More will be the covalent bonds. More the number of unpaired, more will be the covalent bonds, then hardness also will increase. What will increase? Hardness also will increase. So covalent nature is possessed by the n minus 1 d. Ionic nature is possessed by the ns electrons. Ns electron will give you the ionic nature, n minus 1 d electron will give you the covalent nature. That is the difference between the covalent and ionic. And covalent is responsible for hardness, metallic nature is responsible for the thermal conductivity, electrical conductivity, and malleability, ductility, luster. Okay, these are the some metallic properties. Hardness, like if I take the chromium contains 6 unpaired, so it is the hard metal. Okay, how 6 unpaired? It is 4s1 and 3d5. So more number of unpaired, more will be the covalent bonds, hardest metal. Okay, same way molybdenum. Okay, same way tungsten. These are the 3 metals with the maximum number of unpaired, therefore maximum hardness. And there are some elements like, have you noted this? Okay, there are some elements like zinc. What are the 2 other elements? Good. Cadmium and mercury. They don't have unpaired electron, therefore they are soft metals. No unpaired, soft metals. Less unpaired, somewhat hard metal. More unpaired, more hard metal. Hardness of a metal purely depends upon the number of unpaired. More number of unpaired, more will be the covalent bonds, which results in the more hardness. Is it understood? Metallic nature only on Ns. Okay, so make a note of it. Okay, made a note of it. Now very important, very difficult topic to understand is variation of atomic radius. So in other group it was very easy, but here in the D block elements, anomalous variation, neither increase nor constant nor decrease, all of them are remixed here. Okay, so that's why it took some of your time. I paused the video, made the good diagram like this to save up your time. Understood? And to make you understand easily. So what is this I am going to explain? Atomic radius variation in a series is not regular. It is first decreases to the center up to D5. Up to what? D5 there is a continuous D1 to D5. There is a continuous decrease. D5 to normally D8. Okay, there is a constant atomic radius. Again from D8 to D10 there is an increase. Why it is? Because of the 2 contradictory factors. First of all, atomic radius inversely proportional to nuclear charge. Inversely proportional to what? Nuclear charge. But directly proportional to screening effect. So more the nuclear charge, more will be the pull by the nucleus of the electrons. So as we move from left to right, atomic radius in a series, as we move from left to right, atomic number increases, so number of proton increases, therefore nuclear charge increases. So nuclear charge increases, pull will increase and atomic radius decreases. But the added electron will also show the screening effect. Okay, so that screening effect will cause the decrease in nuclear charge. What is the screening effect? Decrease in nuclear charge due to the presence of electron in intermediate shells. Okay, So because of the addition of electron, the nucleus is not able to attract as if it is alone. If electron is alone, the attraction will be more effective. If electron is in between the many electrons, then the attraction force is not as effective as it should be. Is it understood? Therefore, there will be screening effect will decrease the nuclear attraction. Therefore, atomic radius will increase. So, atomic radius directly proportional to screening effect, inversely proportional to nuclear charge. So, initially what happens, I will show through the diagram. So, this is the which subshell? D subshell. Electron is coming here. So, this one. Next electron is nowhere concerned with this electron. So, screening effect will not be much effective because nucleus is attracting like this. Okay. And electron is here. So there is no much effect of the screening effect till the time every electron joins to the different orbitals. This is another orbital. Okay. But problem comes when electron started pairing. So that time screening effect is almost equal to nuclear charge. It will increase. Nuclear charge will increase, this will decrease. Both will cancel out and it will remain constant. After that time, then takes over by the screening effect. It is took over by what? Screening effect. Due to higher screening effect. So instead of decreasing by the nuclear charge, it will increase. Okay. At the end of a series, you will find a increase in atomic radius. Is this variation? Along with the proper reason, along with the suitable diagram, I think it is clear to understand now. Okay. Now shall we go for the other part? Very good. This is the atomic radius variation only we are going to study again, but not across a period. Make a note of it. How beautifully explained. Is it understood or not? Okay. Now atomic radius variation down the group also there is a problem. Okay, so normally what happens down the group atomic radius should increase because increase in number of shells. But problem is that first series to second series there is no problem increase. But second to third almost constant. First transition series to second transition series there is an increase in atomic radius. But second to third there is a constants because just now I told you lanthanum. After lanthanum electron will go somewhere here. Then again it will come back. These are called as lanthanoids. What noids? Lanthanoid. Okay. So lanthanoid we are going to study again. Lanthanoid contraction. So lanthanoid when electron enters into the lanthanoid series there is a decrease in atomic radius. So down the group it is increased because of the lanthanoid contraction decreased. Increase and decrease both will get cancelled again it is constant. Question will be there why atomic radius of second and third transition series are almost same. Then what you will write? The increase in atomic radius down the group is compensated by decrease in atomic radius of lanthanoid contraction. Is it understood, students? This is about the atomic radius. Okay. Next coming to the ionic radius. This is only important. This is not much important. So I will not say everything as important and everything you have to study. So ionic radius for same oxidation state. For example, for same oxidation state. Then left to right decreases. Ionic radius from left to right what happens? Decreases. Okay. So but if it is different oxidation state like Fe plus 2, Fe plus 3 then with increase in charge ionic radius decreases. And when you compare the ionic radius of transition elements will be less than the ionic radius of representative metal. Which metal? Representative metal. Is it understood? So don't worry about the much ionic radius, but atomic radius you have to remember it very nicely. Then coming to the atomic volume. Atomic volume and densities. Very important thing. Atomic volume and density. Okay. So volume of transition elements are low with respect to, see, if I take alkali metals are large in size as compared to alkaline earth metal. Okay, then comes the transition metal. Okay, transition metal volume is very low. Why? Because the electron does not enter into the valency shell. See, electron is entering here 4s2, here 4s1. Okay, but electron is entering inside the 4s, that is 3D. So screening effect, if it would have been 4D, then size will be automatically, this is the 4s, this is the 3D. So if it enters here 4D, then size will be automatically bigger. That is called as a screening effect. Okay. So here screening effect will be more. Here screening effect will be less. So less screening effect, more attraction, less size. Is it understood? So what will be the reason why transition elements have small atomic size as compared to corresponding alkaline earth metal? Due to poor screening of penultimate d subshell. What word you will use? What is the reason? Due to poor screening effect of penultimate means n-1 d subshell electron. They could not screen the nucleus from attracting the 4s. Understood? So density will be, once volume is low, then density will be what? High. Okay. So when screening effect is less, attraction force will be maximum, volume will be low. Okay, transition elements volume will be low. Why it is understood? Due to the poor screening effect, the nuclear attraction will be more, and transition elements will be smaller in size. So smaller in size, density will be high. Already I just now told you first highest denser metal belong to transition elements. Okay, and just now I told you second and third series elements are higher density, because top to bottom what happens? Higher density. There is instead of increasing, there is no much increase, but mass is increasing. What is increasing? Mass is increasing. There is an exception you should note down: scandium, okay, yttrium and titanium. Okay, and titanium. These are the three elements which have exceptionally less density than the expected. Okay, so what are the three elements which have exceptionally less density? Scandium, yttrium and tungsten. Okay, these are the three elements which have exceptionally less density. Okay, so make a note of it. We will continue in the next class. Bye.